welcome back to Infernum Calamity, where I had obviously a stark realization in our last update is that this is a gear game. That is what it is. It's an ARPG. I don't care if people compare it to Minecraft or whatever. This is an ARPG, and it was very clear. One, I was taking way too much damage, and I was doing way little damage. So what I did is I said I was looking at a wiki that is years outdated. So I checked some other things, and people make these like YouTube videos. They're really short, very like zoomer, zoom. But they do like staged upgrades of what happens after you kill each boss. There's a whole new world that opens up in this game of stuff for summoners, rangers, rogues, mages, whole bunch of new items that Calamity's added in, which I don't know without cycling through them all. So we moved to that, and that made me realize I was missing a whole bunch of stuff, a lot of stuff. So I started the day in the chill Terraria fashion of go and get stuff. This was really fun. This stark contrast between going into boss mode, into farm mode is just really nice sometimes. So the first thing I wanted to do is get Terra Spark boots. This is the most complex thing I've crafted so far. It's like a 9-stage upgrade item. In order to get it, you have to get like a certain amount of boots that then need upgraded. Then you need to craft a different boots, and all the you need 3 different types of boots that are all individually upgraded that then combine into the Terra Spark boots. But these boots are phenomenal. They make you kind of take reduced damage to tons of surfaces, you know, lava and all that kind of stuff. But they also like allow you to walk on ice. They give you like a massive movement speed buff. They allow you to do like huge giant jumps, which meant I could remove the balloon from my accessories slot and put something else in. So I went about that. Everything about this was great. I cheated once, although I don't think it's technically cheating because I don't know if it's in vanilla. But I had to get a rose item, which reduces damage from lava from hell. So I built my elevator down in hell, built a big bridge, and it comes from imps. I killed so many imps. I did. I spent like 45 minutes here. I know in the grand scheme of Terraria, 45 minutes is not a lot. But for us, it was a long time. And people started checking then, and the imps are only a 3% mob spawn chance in hell. Everything else is way higher, because I was killing a ton of mobs, although I will say it was generally quite quiet. Even with battle potions, which increase enemy spawn rate. Yeah, no good. So we were down there for ages. Ultimately, you can just craft it, and you've farmed endless amounts of materials to craft this item, so that was the only thing I cheated on. But got my Terra Spark boots. Next thing I needed to do was go up into the cloud world, because it turns out I can get flight, I can get wings, and I was like, no way can you get wings. I was desperate for wings because the double jump had failed me a lot of times, and it made me do these like really weird little platforms in order to get things done. So that was my goal then. And all I wanted to do really was deal with the Perforators. That's it. I wanted to deal with the Perforators because that, or the Perforator, because that fight is, the reason I did this is I got all the way to the end of the fight. I think the boss had like 10% health left a couple of times, but the last phase, I was like, I don't have the mobility to deal with what its attacks are at this point, because it's a hyper fast boss, at least for now. And you just can't get out of the way of the stuff, right? That's as simple as that. I just could not get out of the way. So managed to get my wings, which was really nice. Managed to get my wings. Got very frustrated that there's an ore in the sky that I couldn't get. And we'll come back to that later. Even with my mining pick having 100% mining power, it could not do it. Unlucky. And on top of that, managed to get some gold together. Gold I'm going to bring up probably regularly until we make a final decision. But for now, I haven't cheated on gold. And I would say cheated is that you can do some shenanigans that comes with Calamity to get infinite gold. But reforging, the Terra Spark boots are 50 gold a reforge. 50 gold. I have like 2 platinum at this point. But they had no good stat on them. And that is a lot of stats that are missing, especially 4 defense and a damage reduction percentage. That's a huge amount of helpful hand, whether you want melee damage or movement speed or whatever. So I spent every last penny I had trying to reforge them. I managed on my last one to get 4% movement speed. Fine. I need mobility. It's not ideal. I would really like the defense because, again, Perforators were hitting me for like 60 to 70 HP a time, which is brutal. But that will do. Beyond that, I managed to just be pretty good. But the next thing to change was weapon. I cannot believe how far behind on weaponry I was. It's absurd. It's absolutely absurd. And Calamity puts in so many new weapons in order to deal with the Calamity bosses. That's why they're there. And they're way more fun. They're fan-made. So they've got a lot more interesting stuff going on. So there was 2 recommended. One was the Fungicide. And the other was the Magna cannon. The first thing I went to get was the Magna cannon. This thing was incredible. It was a charged weapon that charged a giant ion cannon laser beam that just unleashed like an unholy amount of minigun bullets that did so much damage. They do massive drop-off damage and they're radically inaccurate. Was the only issue I had with it. Really inaccurate, but it was a lot of damage. Like, compared to the mini shark I was using, it was probably 2x damage. It was crazy. As I was like, oh, that's great. Let's go and get the fungicide. This is where I hit a little wall. In retrospect, the fact that it's called the fungicide, I should have known it came from the mushroom biome. But the thing was, when I checked, it came from a boss called Crabulon. And a crab makes me think of water. I was like, well, Crabulon's got to be in the water, right? So I was like, okay, I know 3 water areas. There's the normal beach that I found, and there's also an underground watery cave, and then there's a toxic sea that's, I think it's called the Sulfur Sea, that's on my left. So I was like, okay, it's one of those. But the Sulfur Sea burns me when I'm in there. That needs like potions and things to investigate. So I was hoping and praying it was in the other 2. Went to the beach, nothing there. Then went down into the other underwater area, explored it, found a lot of... One of the biggest mysteries I have with this game right now is these weird science labs we keep finding. I found 4 of them so far. They're very odd. Very, very odd. They talk about code breaking, and there's riddles, and there's different ores in these like energy cores. Really odd. Don't know what they are. I'm sure they're going to lead to some sort of super boss or something at some point, but for now, very weird. I found one in the air. I found one, and I had a message saying there's one in the ice biome as well that I've not found. But they're really odd and out of place. So whatever they're setting up is mysterious. I've still uncovered but only part of my world. So I then went over to the Sulfur Sea. Thankfully, with all the upgrades I've got, and the first chest gives you a potion which reduces the damage of the sulfur, meant I could explore this area. I am not meant to be here yet, I don't think, because this gets deep. This is, I think it's actually called the Abyss. You're fine in the first area, but then you go deeper, and even your potion of breathe underwater no longer works. And things killed me there in like 2 hits. I was like, oh, yeah. I don't know what lurks down there, but it's pitch black, and it's weird, and it's scary, and it's a full Subnautica vibe, and it's amazing that this little 2D sprite game could still instill in you, like, I should not be here. This is bad. This is really bad. So I left that, and I did lean on the chat, and they're like, it's actually just a crafted item, because I would have been looking everywhere for some sort of drop or something, and they're like, it's just a crafted item in the mushroom biome, which was great, because we already actually had an arena there, so no issue. Went down there. I think I 2-shot this. It was very easy. It was very, very easy. Compared to what I've been killing, I think this is supposed to be like boss 2 or something along those lines. It's Krabby Boy. He's got a fantastic soundtrack. I will give him that. He's got a fantastic soundtrack. And I think I killed him 2 or 3 times to get the fungicide weapon. It was about, I'll be honest, it was about the same damage as the Magna cannon. But it's got an awful sound effect. It sounds like a popcorn gun going off. And I was like, even if this gun was better... I'm not going to use it because the sound effects is so irritating. It's so irritating. Absolutely most frustrating. So then it was time to actually get back into boss mode. Fun times were over. Time to go boss mode. I 2-shot the Perforator. The upgrades were very apparent. The upgrades were very apparent because I had learned the patterns the day before. Like, it's not like I didn't put in the work, but knowing the patterns and having upgraded gear meant that it was a 2-shot attempt. I did 1 which warmed me back up and then got back in there and just murdered it into the floor. I was surprised when it died actually because I was so used to the last phase having probably another minute or so of the fight left. I think it lasted about 30 seconds and then it was just done and I was like, oh, cool. Giving us the message that a cyan sparkle has appeared in the sky. That was interesting, but first things first is check whether we get upgrades now we've done the Perforator. Nothing much to farm from him to get there. So it was time to go to the sky where we got aerialite bars and gave us a whole new set of armor, which was great. A whole new set of armor to go along with things. And then checking the thing, there's more weapons to get. Because I was feeling kind of a high after 2-shotting the Perforator. I was like, what's our next boss? And the next thing I think I need to do is Skeletron. I can do Queen Bee and Skeletron. So I was like, I'll go and check Skeletron out and see what that's like. Because part of me didn't want to dig out an arena for the bee. Although there is a big hive that I found. So it's probably not that big of a deal. But I wanted to go and check out Skeletron. Pulled it. And it's different than I remember. I remember having to kill the hands. But this time it's just the head. But what an intense bullet hell this is. And I am awful at bullet hell games. I'm not great with very tiny micro movements. I've never been great at that. I'm too fat-fingered and too impatient. I want to move fast and be nimble. When it comes, and it became apparent on like the second pull that you want to do like little stutter-steppy movements, and you actually, it does a lot of bullet hell, but the trick is to not move a lot, actually, because it's sort of like, it is aimed at you, but there's gaps. And using those gaps means you just move a little bit, and it looks like a lot's happening, but it's not. You're actually avoiding like one or two of the things. So it then turned out I could spawn Skeletron not at the dungeon, but actually at my base, which made life considerably easier to try this. I did really well on this fight. I did really, really well. I think if I would have had an extra half hour, I would have killed this. We got all the way to the final phase where he started doing different things for like... seemingly there's a thing in Infernum where the bosses have some sort of crazy thing they do at the last like 10% of their HP to just try and murder you. And it gets very different. And you have to relearn that. Kind of a kill Jaden aspect is what I would say. I got really, really close to killing this. But ran out of time. I had to go home and see family and things like that. I would have locked in for the remainder of the day and killed this thing. So I'm pretty sure we're going to kill Skeletron today. And then explore the dungeon and then do Queen Bee. And see where it goes from there. Now... this morning, one thing I've gotten the little habit of is when I get here, before I actually start streaming and stuff, is doing a little bit of gold farming, which is great. Because what I want to do is get the buff potions, because I hate farming herbs and fishing and shit like that. So that's the only change I've made overnight, is just adding in, I've got the Wrath Potion now, which is 10% more damage, and the Rage Potion, which is 10% crit. Just so I don't have to farm them. If you're not aware of what I'm talking about, in Calamity, if you have a 30 stack of a potion and you put it in your safe, your piggy bank, you just have that buff all the time. And it's designed because a lot of these bosses are going to take a lot of pulls, and repotioning is just a pain in the ass. It's just not realistic to be farming. I'm sure somebody's done it, I'm sure, but the game knows, like, yeah, you want these buffs, but you don't want to make 1,000 potions. That's just nonsense, right? With fishing and stuff like that. So that's what I've done, which means I've got a lot more damage. I'm probably just going to melt Skeletron. I hope so, actually, so we can go into the dungeon, get a load of stuff out of there. That gives us the shadow keys for hell. And then do Queen Bee. And I think that's it for pre-hard mode before the Wall of Flesh. Wall of Flesh Infernum scares me to death, considering what Skeletron is like with its massive craziness. No idea what they're going to do. Queen Bee I'm not super worried about, but Wall of Flesh... I don't know, bro. That could be very, very weird. So we'll find out. That's where we're up to. But we're winning. Slowly but surely. We're winning. So I'll see you then. Bye, guys.